And we are live. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Holy Crap, the Vlogcast. God damn it. One of these days, you're going to turn that off before we go live.
I was in the middle of it, and you went live before I could do it.
Like it's my fault. The Vlogcast that comes from a skeptical point of view to answer some of the questions of why. This Vlogcast started as a combination of spite and the Streisand. You know what? The mood is wrong now. The mood is wrong. So, thanks. Thanks ever so much. Screw y'all.
Thanks, Trump.
I'm your main host. I'm known as Shujin Tribble pretty much everywhere. SHUJIN. You can find me on pretty much any social media that way. Let's go ahead and introduce you to, well, whoever is still not in a food coma, at least at this point, which, of course, brings us over the border because they don't have food coma weekend this weekend. Back again. Welcome back, Dalan.
Yeah, we just have the shopper's hangover from Black Friday.
Yeah, tell me about it. From north of me over to Ontario.
Shopping?
Yes. Good morning, Heretic Woman.
Good morning. I didn't shop anywhere on Friday.
Good choice. From the Midwest of the U.S., welcome back, Brigid. Everything cool now?
My computer keeps freezing up for some stupid reason, but howdy, and I don't do Black Friday either.
Yeah, it's probably because it's minus 20 Celsius out by you, I'm sure, at this point. I'm going with that story. I don't care at this point. Speaking of hot air, just outside of Washington, D.C., good morning, UnrenownedTech.
Hi.
You're not the cause of it. That's
okay. You were referring to Washington, D.C. Okay,
Right.
I'm sorry. I thought you were referring to me. It's like,
No.
I know I'm full of hot air, but you don't have to remind me constantly.
It's not the hot air that I have a problem with. It's the methane that I've got a problem with. That's the problem.
Well, stop pulling my finger.
I don't...
Speaking of pulling my finger, I have my Hilleel brand pork rind today.
Not even 2 minutes in, and the show's already taken a disturbing turn. Wow.
That's okay. For lonely people like me, Thanksgiving shall forever be known as Spanksgiving.
Well, that's okay. Dalan has a lovely giant portrait of a pussy behind his head. So
this coming from the woman who showed me off her black pussy earlier and named it after some other podcaster.
That's
well done.
No, actually, I named her before the other podcaster. But
Wait, which pussy was that? That would be 3.
You're muted, Dalan.
You muted yourself.
Talking a mile a minute.
I did indeed mute myself. But yes, and I assure you all, my constituents, that I have absolutely no intention of grabbing this one behind me here tonight at all. I guarantee it. Believe that.
Then he reaches back there and goes, honk!
Good at that. And
considering the horn like you get on a bicycle.
Yeah, so
now it goes,
wow, one would...
Wait, which ones are you grabbing, Heretic Woman?
Okay, the one she's grabbing is the one that gets you charged with assault. Just ask Roy Moore.
I'd rather be charged with pepper. It's a better seasoning.
I'd rather be charged with lithium ion. But moving on, go. Hurry.
No, I was gonna say, okay, if we're gonna be doing horns here or anything like that, like, come on. If you're gonna go that route, you go all out. It's the auga.
Yeah.
Oh.
Something like that.
He's not going to grab that one behind him because it's that loser.
We're gonna go with that. So, for those of you that are watching, sorry, I don't know.
Right now, I have this image of Trump getting arrested, and as soon as they slap the cuffs on his wrists, you suddenly hear him squealing like a pig.
Dude, Christmas is still coming. Don't push the issue. All right.
You don't make handcuffs that small.
They'd fall right off.
Not getting the. You know what? Just so you all know, there is a certain Black Friday sale that was on that I told the guys about that we're not going to discuss, but I'm going to go ahead and say I completely need to put another reminder in my phone because I forgot about the Black Friday sale from this group. And normally the first half hour is 40% off. Now it's only 25 for the rest of the weekend. God damn it.
Now, you see, you keep talking about buying these things, but do you really have the brass cojones to wear them out in public?
Okay, if anybody is able to wear those things out in public, they should be president, okay?
Okay, for those of you that don't have any idea what we're talking about, trust me, this is friggin' hilarious what's going to have happen.
Don't search at work
No,
or at home.
Dalan, if the Dorsite irregular during a parade were to suddenly come trotting up and bringing said item along with them and saying, "Did you just lose something? I think this is yours." There's only one security person I know of that would be able to get away with doing that to me, with me not laughing.
Very, very true.
No, actually, come to think of it, it's two of them.
Yeah.
Ooh. It would still be funny as hell.
Yeah, but again, if you end up in that situation, I just have to end up wondering, what the hell put you in that situation in the first place?
Yeah, see, we made, you know what? Next week is a Power of 10 episode. Maybe I'll talk about it. Maybe.
Oh, it's going to be great because the day before I get to have dental surgery.
Oh, that's
Oh, I'm going to be cursing up a storm.
Dude, if we have any luck, maybe next week we will have musicians on. Because Dalan, did you? Oh, okay, before we real quickly before we get into the whole thing, which by the way, Trippin and Stephanie, and Trippin and Stephanie and Trippin. Hi guys. All right. Dalan had forwarded off to the Holy Crap Twitter account a song, which
yes,
was that FU45? Is that what it basically was?
It was indeed FU45.
Okay. Now I watched it because I kind of own, and I'm using our air quotes on that. I own the Twitter account for that. Although Dalan's got access to it, if I remember right. I think Heretic Woman also, just in case, because you never know. And I watched it, and I said, you know what? I'm not just going to retweet this. I'm going to retweet it, and I'm going to requote it. And I put a little thing in there that basically said to the musicians, because I tracked down who it was. I sent it off and I tweeted it to them and retweeted it. If you guys can ever make one of our shows, I will roll out the red carpet for you.
Okay, so that's what that was.
And 3 of the musicians have already liked that particular status.
Nice.
So I'm thinking I will get in touch with them probably tomorrow and send off a tweet directly one way or another and basically say, hey guys, listen, I will be more than happy to pay for all of your costs. Please be on the show. Please be on the show. So maybe. So if you want to find out which one that was, go looking for Holy Crap the Vlogcast on Twitter. That's Holy Crap TV at Holy Crap TV. It's there. Actually, we should probably try to figure out how to put a timeline on the website for tweets. I got to look into that again. I keep forgetting. Whatever. Tech? Too loud. Way too loud.
The Iceman drinketh again.
Ain't that the truth? And I am not going to be calling you Bobby Drake anytime soon. Oh, you got that? Heretic Woman, you actually got that reference? Bobby Drake?
I think so. I don't know.
I got it.
All right.
It took a second, but I got it.
All right, that's fine.
I have no idea. Sorry.
Iceman.
The X-Men.
Oh, okay. That's probably why I don't get it.
Sorry. Remember me?
Yeah.
Big ass
My
dork.
loss.
It's not a loss. Don't worry about it. Anyway, so yeah, this is going to be the last time I'm going to be wearing this hat for a little while. I will explain a little bit later, because yeah, tradition. I'm not singing the song. So let me go ahead and get tonight rolling over here, because I had a little bit of fun trying to figure out what to open with tonight. So with 5 minutes on the clock, your 5-minute freestyle starts right now. Aesop. At least I'm pretty sure that's how it's pronounced. I am not really too sure. I mean, this name is Greek to me, so you know, whatever the hell. Aesop's Fables. We've heard Aesop's Fables pretty much all our lives. It's one of those things where, for one thing, you don't have to worry about copyright issues because, well, it goes back to 620 BCE when he was born, give or take. Whatever, close enough. But he wrote some stuff, and we know these fables. And no, these are not Grimm's fairy tales, although they do have something that equates out to, you know, learning from these stories. And within the last 48 hours, 36 hours almost, I had to kind of try to figure out which of the two most famous ones I was going to use, and I wasn't really sure. I was considering the Boy Who Cried Wolf. Now we've just by saying it, I'm sure that we all know the story. Kid is supposed to be watching over the sheep. If you see a wolf, let us know, and just yell and scream. We'll come up there. We'll take care of it for you. And 2 times the kid does it because he thought it would be funny, and haha, I tricked you. And finally, the 3rd time comes around, and nobody believes him. My point was going to be, how many times do you have to be, intentionally fooled? I mean, granted, we've had a president here in the United States who once before, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on you. I don't remember what it was that he said because it was so stupid. The fact that he didn't even know it. The old expression is, of course, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Because, if I didn't learn from my mistake the first time, that's my fault. And really, that's what it's been coming down to with this entire presidency that we've got right now here in the United States. It's insane. I mean, it really is. If insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, the same way, and expecting a different result, we keep getting lied to and lied to and lied to, and we keep getting apologetics left, right, and center from everybody that, that's not what he meant, but he means what he says. Well, you're twisting the words. And we've got documentation of the words to show that it's an absolute lie, a fabrication, completely going contrary to what had been stated before. How many times do you have to be lied to before you, kind of wise up? How invested do you have to be? I'm guessing so far pretty invested. That's when I finally came to the realization within 48 hours ago that there's one that supersedes that. That's the story of the sour grapes. The short version of it is, fox comes along. Apparently Aesop liked his foxes. Imagine that. And there's a whole bunch of grapes hanging from overhead on a vine, and he's hungry. Oh, he's hungry, and he wants them, and he wants them. So he goes ahead and he jumps up. Big, wonderful teeth, chomp. Misses it. Missed it by that much. Some people get that reference. And you know what? Fine, I'll try again because I gotta go ahead and get it. Chomp, missed it again. Let me get him. Chomp, missed it again. Missing it by just a little bit. And finally he gets so just beleaguered of it all. Just so tired and so frustrated. He just starts to walk away and all mad at himself. And he says, you know what? Those grapes probably weren't as good as they looked. They were probably sour anyway. What does it sound suspiciously like right now? This to me sounds suspiciously like what just happened with Time Magazine's December 6th issue of the Man of the Year. Because my country's president went ahead and put out a thing that said Time Magazine wanted me to be part of this. And they said I was probably in the running, but that I would have to do a whole big interview and get photographs and the whole thing. And I just turned them down because, probably going to be wasn't good enough. What the hell? Do you really, for one moment, think that I'm going to go ahead and accept this on face value that they said that you were probably going to be Person of the Year? Really? You know what? Maybe you're right. Maybe that's exactly what happened. Maybe that is entirely an accurate portrayal of what ended up happening between you and the nice folks over there at Time Magazine. Because then again, if I remember right, don't you have at least one doctored Time Magazine cover with your face on it saying that you were already a Person of the Year? Fool me once. This is episode 189 on the docket, Your Honor. We're one away from just letting it all hang loose. Drunk on Power. Now, last week, went ahead and told everybody, you know, we're going to talk about that because Dalan had brought it up, you know, since we were talking about what's been happening with various people, for instance, Roy Moore and other people who are, you know, in positions of authority, and they're abusing that like nobody's business. And well, why?
Yep.
And you know, this week we should really just go ahead and talk about that, because there are plenty of opportunities for us to talk about who's been doing what were they like beforehand, and you know, what the hell? Because a lot of this just doesn't work for me. I just don't understand it. As always, Heretic Woman, you are well, that's a doctored version of Time Magazine. I'm sure that they didn't authorize.
Yep.
Go ahead and explain yourself.
That works, though.
Well, that just came across my news feed, but it's a picture of 45 at the time where he was mocking the disabled reporter, and it says "Pervert of the Year, Groper in Chief, grab him by the pussy." When you're a star, they let you do anything. Yeah.
P.S. That's 29 tabs you have open on that one. I just checked.
Who's counting?
I told you every time you see me doing this, that's me counting.
Yep. And
Anyway,
I shut down a few before we started.
like that really makes any kind of a difference. You do realize, of course, that taking a bucket of water out of the ocean doesn't really change much of the ocean. You know that, right? Because eventually it all seeps back down.
By the way, I've been eating my grapes, and I can tell you they're not sour.
Well, that's very nice for you. I couldn't tell that from. It's all black and white. The hell do I know? Anyway, so Heretic Woman, we briefly mentioned to each other before the show. I went looking this week. Google's news feed has nothing on Rafe Badawi at this point.
Nothing.
So
Nothing here.
unfortunately, like I keep reminding you, that's much more the norm than not. As of the recording of tonight's show, this is now 5 years, 5 months, 10 days since Rafe Badawi was unjustly incarcerated for thought crime. Our thoughts and our hopes are still with you and your family. We keep hoping, man. Keep hoping. So let's go ahead and talk through some of this. I'm sorry, I'm looking over at the I'm looking over at the live chat, and
I don't
couple of new people.
understand any of that.
We have viewers?
yeah, well,
Yeah.
yes, we do. But at the same time, I got a couple of people who chimed in. I don't know. Some of it is in Spanish, and my Spanish is negligible at best. So, you know what? Whatever. It doesn't matter at this point. I'll see if I can check it out in a little bit. But basically, it's not. It's somebody not putting in links to something. Whatever. I don't mind. Not a worry. Anyway, so
Fries are done.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, and by the way, I do need to add, because it's just so delicious, the announcement that the current president put out, the tweet saying that, you know, well, they said it was probably in the running, but you know, the whole thing. And yeah, the guys over there at Time Magazine
Came back and they said, no.
He made a public statement. That's a lie, asshole.
Well, not exactly. That is a very good paraphrasation of it. Sure, I'm going with that. They said
Paraphrasing,
BS.
I think.
Well, you know, fake news and all that shit, right?
Yeah, they did use the term BS.
Yes.
Now, for a group or even an individual associated with Time Magazine to use the term BS very specifically, you can pretty well guess they felt rather passionate, very likely, about that. And
Yes.
I can't say as I blame them one bit. So,
Absolutely.
Mr. 45, here's to you and bringing together the country in a way that nobody else could. We all know how to spell dumbass with 2 letters.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
You must.
Yes. Anyway, and Trippin is asking how long till he deletes it. Now this kind of feeds into the whole thing because I don't know how many of you are at all privy to this kind of thing, but our current president has gone ahead and said that his personal Twitter account should be considered official word from the office itself.
Oh,
Wait. This gets to be beautiful. That means that it's quite literally a federal offense for him to destroy official documentation. So, yeah. So, to that end, Brigid, what was that? 17 minutes of audio tape that was from the Nixon White House. Is that what it was?
I don't remember exactly, but something like that.
Just give me something like that. Yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
You know, what the hell, man?
18 minutes.
I rob up.
You asked.
And I'm just, when is he not lying? Let's ask that.
You know what? Hold on.
You know, he talks less like a politician and more like a car salesman.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah.
Okay, so if we're gonna figure out, I've got Post-it notes. I'm sure I can take down every time that he hasn't been lying since I don't know, the turn of the century. So yeah, I'll keep that in mind. You notice that is blank right now.
Yeah.
Figure.
Trippin says he's already deleted a few tweets. I think they they dealt with Alabama, the Alabama election.
The whole
Yep, he supported somebody and they got knocked down.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Stephanie says he's never not lying. That's the question of when is he lying? When his lips are moving.
So let's kind of
How can you lie about something if you have no knowledge of what the truth is?
You can... Okay, you know what? Hold on a second. Let's
Sorry.
No.
Going back to my days of philosophy.
No, and this is a legitimate philosophical question.
Yes.
That I think is
a fun one to debate too.
It is.
As long as everybody doesn't get angry.
Can you be accused correctly of lying if you do not have information? I would say that depends on intent.
Yes.
If your intent is to obfuscate, to derail investigation,
or deceive,
to be
duplicitous.
Trying so hard. Trying so hard to get these words out. Duplicitous. Thank you. See, I got freaking obfuscate out, but I couldn't say duplicitous. That's great. That's when, whether you have the correct information or not, that I believe is when someone could be correctly stated as lying, because it follows the intent.
See, most people, when they hear the word lying, they're thinking not just the intent to deceive, but also giving false information as a kind of a 1-2 strategy punch.
Yeah.
But the intent to deceive, regardless of, you can deceive people and completely mislead them by telling them the truth, by giving them only part of the truth.
Right. I believe I could have the.
There's a phrase for that. Yeah.
Intent follows the bullet. I think it's the expression. I might be remembering it incorrectly, and I'll admit I'm trying to remember something from a while ago. But by the way, from Paris, France. Good morning, Joseph.
Good morning. I made it.
Bonjour.
Hola.
Bonjour. Bonjour tout le monde. Comment allez-vous?
Ça va.
We're doing a lot better than you. Are you starting to wear a hard hat in your place now?
Actually, I got over that part yesterday. I don't need one anymore.
Oh, good.
That's good to hear.
Good.
Yeah, the ceiling's starting to fall on my head.
Yay!
What fell on your head?
No, this is not going to fall. Yeah. That would be good if it stays, up.
Oh, it will. Yeah.
Are you putting like new flooring and ceiling up or something?
Did you staple someone to the ceiling?
Did I staple someone to this?
You don't staple people to the ceiling. You use duct tape.
Duct tape.
Well, crazy glue works too.
Yeah. Then you just plaster over top, right?
Oh, God.
Oh, contact cement's
if
great
you make
because you know.
Oh, contact cement. There you go.
Yeah, because you put a coat on the ceiling, you put a coat on the person, and then you just toss them up and they stick.
Yeah.
Nice.
The second you mentioned crazy glue, of course, I had flashbacks to that old commercial with the hard hat.
Yep.
Yep.
I
Yep.
remember those.
I was going to say, crazy glue only works on a person if you make contact with the skin.
Actually, though, I get crazy glue on my fingers regularly, and it just peels off.
What you do on your weekends is your business entirely. I'll discuss that later. Anyway, so like I said, I think the expression is intent follows the bullet. I could be completely wrong. I do not remember. I vaguely remember something like that coming from like Law and Order, 20 years ago. So the hell do I know? The only way that I would remember it would be intent follows the ball, which is why in some cases you can be charged with tripping in soccer, but not if you're going after the ball. You could break somebody's leg and not get a foul if you're going after the ball.
It's not the intent drives the ball. No, the ball. No, but
Intent.
Well, a lot of people's intentions are driven by their balls.
We had a commitment about that earlier, and
For other people, some of those intentions are driven by the ovaries, the internal balls.
Tune in next week and find out what it was I was talking about that Black Friday sale, and you'll find out just how much so.
Oh dear God!
Wait, are you going to be in a newspaper, Shujin?
No, I will not, and I'll tell you why next week. So go ahead.
Reasonable doubt. That's all that came into my mind.
I'm going with that. Just remember, Dalan, the exchange rate right now is pretty good. So if I need bail, I'm coming to you.
Going back to the whole philosophical discussion about lying and everything else, sometimes, I can understand how somebody in the deep South or out in the Midwest, Bible country and things like that, who didn't, wasn't near here when Trump did all his horrible, horrible things before his presidency. And for people like me who grew up in New York, who constantly read about them as well.
Yeah.
I can see how they might think, okay, if he gets something wrong, it's somebody gave him the wrong information. It's like, no. You poor delusional bastard. It's not like that at all.
Well, I think that has almost more to do with, like, if you want to go with the lies, then it would be kind of lies of omission on his part. And I'm not sure if what you would call I don't know if it would really be a lie of exaggeration or whatever. But there's a couple of great videos, compilations of 45 during the campaign trail, where it's nobody's better at free trade than me. Nobody understands the LGBTQ community better than me. Nobody understands Washington better than me. And it's like a 5-minute screed of him like, nobody's better than me. Like, he basically marketed himself as, the greatest thing since sliced bread in the political arena. And the way he did it with his attitude, his ego, and everything else, it keyed into something that, and now they're saying, well, he must have been fed the wrong information, because he played himself up as the flippin' messiah of the South. The Washington
of everything.
Yeah, but like the Washington outsider who's going to drain the swamp. He's going to get rid of corruption. He's going to replace the establishment with, fresh, brave, new ideas. And, this presidency is going to take a completely different turn from where it was before. And given the repressed anger of the South, and we've talked about the whole anger thing before, like, he keyed into it.
Oh, yeah.
And so now when he's caught in these lies, the reason he's still getting the support, it's apologetic level mental gymnastics on the part of his most diehard supporters, saying like, well, it must have been something else. And then they come up with something that would make Ken Ham go, are you freaking serious? But it still plays because it's him.
Yeah. Yeah, it's unfortunately true. All too true.
You know, what really scares me is that, kind of circling back to the whole topic, drunk on power, like, is he at the point where he's actually starting to believe his own BS? Or
he's always believed his own bullshit.
Well, that's what I wonder. Like, does he believe his own BS, or does he know that he's...
I think he is narcissistic enough to believe it.
Oh, okay. So he's not doing like what the Penguin did in Batman Returns. I played these people like a harp from hell.
Well, all right. Now, all right. Before we go any too deep into this one, we are not ourselves psychologists, psychiatrists, or specializing in any way in determining what a person's intent is, nor are we, unfortunately, inside or fortunately inside of said person's head, a la being John Malkovich, although that would be really freaking trippy, man. Can you imagine what Inside Out would be if it was done by, Pornhub would, guys, there's your idea. Do a parody of Inside Out, but yeah, never mind. They've got a store opened up in New York City, so maybe it'll take some.
Actually,
listen, if
Pornhub being
did
John Malkovich, do a Pornhub version being Ron Jeremy.
Well, first off, I would feel very sorry for Ron Jeremy at that point, because they'd have to give him the mothers of all circumcisions to get him going. Small hands and all that. Anyway, she gets it now. Anyway, if they were going to do it Inside Out style, all it would be is a whole bunch of Trumps with different colors inside Trump's head, all basically humping each other and saying how great a job they're doing.
It is he appears to be, I'll say it that way, he appears to be a circle jerk all unto himself.
Yes.
It's the only way I can really describe it.
He occasionally invites Ivanka.
Yeah, invites.
You say invite like she has the option to say no.
Oh, she does.
Okay.
I mean, look at this a couple of times where it's been, they're walking on the red carpet, they're coming off from Air Force One, and
that was Melania. That was Melania.
Sorry, sorry.
That's why they got divorced.
They didn't yet, though.
Oh, damn. Shit. Okay.
Give it time.
Yeah, I mean, she's only number 3. I'm sure
she'll eventually learn.
He's in his 70s. I'm sure he's got at least a couple more wives in him.
Especially after he tried to kill the one.
Well, there's room enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Trippin is also reminding us, don't forget his daughter.
That's what I said, Ivanka.
Yeah. And I think the point is probably don't forget that it's his daughter. And that's the piece that,
and that becomes a literotica project.
Yeah, another time,
I wonder if that would affect his voter base.
No. And that's the thing that
the man just endorsed Roy Moore. I don't think there's
look at the Mormons. Look at the amount of basically like child marriages and shit going on in Mormon country, all the pederasts out there, happening in the evangelical groups. Well, you know what? Let me get this the right way. In all the Abrahamic religions.
Yes.
Yeah, and exactly. So they see that
he's at home.
Yeah,
totally.
And and if the big I word came into the whole thing,
Lot fake news.
The implications of Noah's family.
Yeah, the idiots who are out there bringing out the Bible in defense of Roy Moore, you're right. If they ever did say, well, you know, there was some hanky-panky going on with Ivanka, they'd be like, Lot, Bible, it's okay. God didn't fry Lot.
Everything's okay according to the Bible.
Yep.
And at the same time,
Except
everything isn't.
gay marriage.
Whatever serves our purpose, it's in there. We can do it.
Exactly.
We're authorized, quote unquote.
Yeah,
Yep.
and you know, I go back to it, and I still cannot figure this out. Like I always thought the term apologetic, at least in a biblical sense, was a pejorative. Like, am I right in saying that?
Yes. Well, for
well,
me, anyways.
Well, wait a minute.
Well,
From whose point of view? Meaning,
Yeah.
who's
That's
listening
the
to the
thing.
word?
Well, that's the thing.
Only the Catholics use the term as a non-pejorative term. Actually,
Yeah.
they're quite even proud of it. They
But you see,
when I was going to,
But people like Matt Slick are proud of it too, though. And
Yeah,
his
Well,
It
he's also an
Anglican-
asshole too. So you know.
well, yes, but he has his whole Carm website that he
Yeah,
flaunts.
it doesn't matter. He's still an asshole. Joseph, go ahead and
Yeah.
finish off.
yeah, in Anglican seminary, there was there's even a course called apologetics, and you know, Anglicism is Catholic
Yeah.
light. So
well, the reason I ask is, like, I've listened to Ken Ham a little bit on certain videos that I've watched, and one of the things that he was proud of is that in the Ark Park or the Ark Encounter or the big boat that's starting to rot because somebody couldn't afford freaking seal it, $150 million, and they
It's
couldn't even afford that.
rotting. It's rotting already.
Watch
Nice.
watch the video of Seth Andrews and Matt Dillahunty going to the Ark Encounter.
I did watch that.
Yeah, there's a shot of the Ark, kind of a wide angle shot.
Stain, the big stain. Yeah.
Yes, and it's starting to look like wood rot.
Yeah.
And all
What
I
a-
could think,
They use green wood.
well, my only thought, no, they from what it looks like they didn't, but all I can think of is that okay, you dropped 150 million on this thing, and you couldn't afford a couple of hundred gallons of Thompson's water seal, you idiot.
Well, you know, the taxpayer funding only goes so far.
It's got a God shield around it. Didn't you know?
if I had
It'll
this,
hold together as long as God wants it to.
Well,
If
apparently
I had-
the subscription has expired.
What's
if
that,
I had the
Joseph?
security footage for that park, you know, I'd make a time lapse over the years,
Yeah.
like the thing rotting.
Yeah, but anyways, to my point, one of the things he talked about was that like there's a gift shop in the exhibit where they proudly sell apologetics literature from Answers in Genesis. And when I heard him say that, I thought, wait a minute, this is a term that atheists use to describe, you know, the dipshittiest of the dipshits.
Yep.
You know, like the gold medal mental gymnastics athletes in this whole thing. So I'm like, okay, is this a case of that side trying to take the word and, you know, like claim it as their own? Like, you know, we will own this word. Like, all I'm saying is that if you're doing something with apologetics and you're proudly saying that, methinks you ain't got it right.
Trippin just came up with a great one. Has anybody left a jar of termites open in the Ark yet?
Ooh, okay. I'm okay. As entertaining an idea as that is, I'm going to officially state, don't fucking do that. I'm gonna go ahead and blow our 1F on this one because Australia, bunny rabbits and
Oh, yeah.
frogs.
Yeah.
You take you take a non-native species and you bring it somewhere.
Okay. So
That's gonna be a bad day.
Find out what kind of termites live in that area of Kentucky, if they do, and then just, you know, migrate a
Local.
few.
Guys, you're
Hire a moving
overcomplicating this. It's made out of wood.
Look,
Fire.
no,
Well, okay.
guys.
Termites need to eat too. You know, they have
Oh,
rights.
if you build a
Termite
big
lives
butter,
matter.
if you build a big butter Jesus on top of it, God will hit it with my lightning.
That's true.
Problem solved.
No,
guys,
that's-
look, David
That
Silverman
was
has
touchdown,
already.
Jesus.
No, look, when the state of Kentucky finally puts this place up for auction because it's not making any money, and we all know AIG is going to default on the payment. David Silverman has already got dibs that he wants to turn it into the American Atheist headquarters in Kentucky.
Nice. That'd be awesome.
Where are all the atheists based at? I see that big boat over there. Yeah. It's over in there.
Boat that never existed.
But
Yeah, it's the American Atheist Big Damn
Big
Boat.
Al's big gay atheist boat ride.
and
Like,
that's
it-
part of it.
and they'd be smart enough to put wood sealer on it.
Yes, they
Yeah,
would.
and that wood sealer is going to be rainbow.
and they know
Yep,
they know what to
fucking
do
right.
about the wood rot too and everything else.
Yeah,
Yep.
and you know what? I would, if they decided to crowdfund that, like if American Atheists decided to crowdfund to get proper wood sealant and maybe replace some of the parts that are starting to rot out, I'd be up for that.
Yep.
I'll buy a couple buckets.
And
Yep.
if that's part of the GoFundMe, maybe one of the perks, you pledge, say, I don't know, no, say you pledge
The
50.
cost of a can.
Well, no, yeah, okay. Well, no.
And you get like your name engraved in a little section where that can was used.
Yeah, cost of a can, you get your name engraved. Cost of, say, 3 cans, you get free membership to the FFRF.
Yay,
Okay.
that's
That'd be
cool.
cool.
Okay, but there's also another reason why we're going to go ahead and use that as the base of operations. Because with the way the runaway gases are going, we're going to need that because freaking sea levels are rising still. Thank you very much, because they're fucking people who are in positions of authority in my country about the science and environmental who don't believe in science because
Yeah,
they don't believe in science.
Except that it doesn't float.
But that boat won't float, huh?
And
It doesn't
besides
need,
which,
hold it. It doesn't need to float. Where it is, it only needs to be watertight in the bottom foot or two,
Okay.
maybe, and just has to sit there and look pretty.
Okay.
That's all. That's all.
Until the water rises above it.
Yeah, but
there is a bit of a problem with that, though.
uh,
I'm going to share this because, well, I want to. Just give me a second here.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's the back of it. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
big buildings.
yeah, and
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not even a boat.
It's a fake boat. It's a boat shaped building.
Yeah, these
It's
are
a
apparently where
Dr.
the
Evil
emergency
quote,
staircases are located.
Yeah.
okay, that's fine.
And
That's
don't
fine.
forget, they if they built it the way they talk about it, it has a big hole in the middle for poo to go out.
Well, and not only that,
Well,
If-
of course, there's got to be some way for Ken Ham to get in there.
yeah, and besides which, if that floodplain ever did get enough water that this thing would actually come off its moorings, we already know that a wooden boat that big would actually snap under the shear stress.
Details. Now you're talking about engineering. We know full well that all the Earth is round.
Well,
Whatever.
some people do, because then there's that idiot Mad Mike Hughes.
Yeah,
who
he
thinks the
canceled
Earth is
apparently.
flat.
He canceled.
Yeah,
He canceled for 2 reasons. The big reason being is that the land authority is going, you need permits. The other one is because when he was taking his trailer, which he converted into a small ramp for his steam-powered rocket, broke.
oops.
Yeah,
Steam powered.
yeah. Well,
Yeah,
all right.
I really want to see him launch this thing.
Hold it. Let me explain really quickly. This guy is a recent convert of the Flat Earth Society, who has members around the globe. Who
Yes.
have members around the globe.
Well,
Yes, one more time for the people in the back. And what he has done is he is somebody who has basically redesigned, I guess is the best way of putting it, one of the rocket's sort of, that like Evel Knievel used once upon a time ago. But he said that what he's going to do is launch it into the air, which the math says that it should reach about 1,500 feet, roughly 500 meters, although it could get upwards of 2 kilometers, maybe. Yeah, maybe. Supposedly under steam power. Now, there's a small problem in that, A, he doesn't have the right permits from the Bureau of Land Management. He does not have any kind of permits from the FAA to allow this on public land. Hold it.
Right,
And,
Naval. Okay, go ahead.
and he has also been documenting some of his experimentation in building, and there have been, how can I best put this?
Problems?
Energetic disassociation spontaneously generated because of poking the damn thing with a stick. I shit you not.
Explosions.
And
Yes.
the FAA has also told him this is not a good idea. Yeah.
Guy's gonna croak.
But
Was
you
this
see,
crowdfunded?
No.
Partly, yes.
oh, it was okay.
Yes.
So and he got tons of advertising.
This
So,
project's
when
cost
you
him
know,
$20,000.
He got what he wanted.
Not yet.
Well,
No,
you know,
he's
even if
he-
it doesn't fly, I mean, he's got loads of
rescheduled for
attention.
next week.
Yeah, but Joseph is saying, he's got the notoriety now. He's got the name out there. So, what the hell else? Even if he
Yes.
says no, it's another thing of, well, the world is going to end because I figured it out. Doesn't matter that I'm 98 years old and I misread part of the math and oops, but it's really going to end tomorrow.
Stephanie says spontaneous combustion.
Yeah, well, spontaneous energetic disassociation.
But it's
Okay.
steam
I'm sorry.
powered.
Yes.
I don't want to hear
Yes.
about that.
I have not looked into the how it's supposed to work. I really want to, and I know somebody that I could get in contact with to try and help out with that. I have spoken with Scott Manley before. For those people that know him, I may tap him and ask if he could give me a little bit of information. He can't ever be on the show because of his real life scheduling, but I can see if I can get an interview with him or something sometime. Off time.
Maybe
Cool.
Just don't let him say the intro to our show. Apparently he has trouble with that.
Don't worry about it.
So all I'm thinking is that okay, steam powered rocket.
Yep.
Okay, I like the steampunk vibe to it. That's kind of cool. But I'm thinking maybe somebody should have shot this guy a copy of Kerbal Space Program.
Yeah, but be that as it may, we were already talking about this a little bit before the show. It'd probably be better if he just went up there with a big ass balloon and a live RF link with a bunch of cameras around his gondola and
Less drama.
Less drama, and a good parachute.
Yeah, and also the fact that he would be proven wrong on so many levels.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which we know full well is going to happen anyway, because they proved it in ancient Greece to a very, very, very close degree.
Yeah. Oh, and Trippin puts a good one. It sounds like he's trying to do the MythBusters hot water tank explosion.
Yeah.
And if you remember the one particular episode where they strapped a dummy to the top of said hot water tank just to see what would happen.
Bad things.
Yes, at initial explosion, decapitation, not from any kind of edged thing. It was from the fact that the head was not properly secured and the rest of the body accelerated at a rate slightly higher than the head. At which point, even muscle tolerance went, yeah, you know what, screw this. And there went the head.
Yeah.
I want to see him launch this thing.
Yeah, you and me both.
I want to see if he can do it better than North Korea.
Is this thing manned?
Yes.
He's going to be inside it.
Go in it and document it himself.
Even that's pointless. I mean,
Dude,
with
I put the
technology,
link.
you don't
Oh, wait.
need it, but
You joined after I
It doesn't
put the
need
link.
to be manned.
No,
Well,
yes, it does. And the reason is if someone is not there, the information could be forged by any one of 100 possible bogus reasons that you would need a Faraday cage on the inside of it in order to make sure everything was working right. But even then, somebody would have figured out which one he was using and swapped it all around because exactly. Yeah.
Let's just put it
Technology
this
is
way.
more. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, technology is more reliable than our senses.
In many cases, yes.
Yeah, so long as we have control over what they're supposed to be doing correctly. But of course, we have no way of knowing which bullshit apologetic he's going to use that says, well, the Illuminati got to his stuff and projected information directly into the camera lens.
Yeah, this
So
this sounds all like prefabricated drama. It sounds like a setup.
The gay frog bomb.
Yeah.
One thing I do want to point out, Joseph, is that with the flat earther movement, they can come across actual evidence that shows that the Earth is round, and they will move. Their favorite fallacy that they use is moving the goalpost fallacy. They will constantly make excuses as to why they can't prove the Earth to be flat. It's the most common being it's a conspiracy. Governments, foreign agencies, NASA being the biggest contributor to the problem. One group of them made a statement that there are mountains around the edge of the Earth, being a flat disk. The mountain ranges are the ends of it, and the reason why we can't see what's on the other side is because when they get close by either plane or boat, they get hijacked by the government, knocked unconscious, and have fake memories implanted. These people are batshit crazy.
But my biggest question is why do people want to believe this?
now
Because they
they're
want to feel like they're special and that they are smart enough to figure out something that nobody else can figure out, and that they can see through the quote lies, etc., etc.
And I think it's also important to divide the people spreading this bullshit and the people believing it. Because like this guy, Mr. Rocket Man.
Who knows? If this guy gets up there and sees for himself that, oh wow, look, the math is real, it's not a fake. He may wake up. I'm not saying because he looks like the kind of guy who's willing to be dedicated enough to find the truth. You know, damn everybody else, I've got to see it for myself kind of person. But you're right. The odds are against that, but the math part of my brain saying there is a small chance, and I'm hoping that the very small chance of him just being that kind of extreme go-getter opens up his eyes.
I'm thinking Wile E. Coyote at this point.
Super genius. Wile E. Coyotes.
Not quite.
The cartoon physics.
No, I'm thinking more the. I have strapped a rocket onto my back. I have lit the fuse. I am now in the starting running position to go after the Roadrunner, and one of two things happens: kaboom, or rocket ignites, and he gets moving, and he gets moving, and he gets moving, and there's the wall.
Yep.
There was an
Or he
earth-shattering
goes off the cliff and falls off the bottom of the rocket.
Yeah, there's another piece about this, and I was just pulling it up. And by the way, I'm hearing some weird stuff going on with the audio on my side. So if you folks, okay, if you guys who are listening to the show after the fact are hearing this weird stuff going on with the sound, we know, I know, there's nothing that we can do about that. Unfortunately, this is what happens every once in a while with weird networky type stuff. So please, if it continues to happen, please just bear with us. I did pull it up only because I was thinking about it. One of the tallest buildings in the United States, not too far away from UnrenownedTech, is the Empire State Building, with the observatory at 1,224 feet or 373 meters up. This would be an optimal height for this guy to just go ahead and say, you know what, instead of blowing myself up, I could just go up there. Yep. And take a look, because it's close. It's off by about maybe 10%, maybe.
Yeah, but what you forgot though is that when you go into the entrance of the Empire State Building,
Oh no, I know.
yeah, NASA has an odorless, colorless gas that you inhale, and if you go up to the observatory, your brain has suddenly been altered so that you actually can see the curvature. Don't you know?
Basically, he got gassed with LSD.
No,
Yeah.
it's a natural defect in the human eye that we.
Don't forget, some of these people are paranoid because of all the crap that's been going on. You know, they look at what our government does. They look at these politicians, what they do, what they get away with. They look at who owns the newspapers and the news television stations. I mean, if you really look at this stuff, it's not hard to see why so many people believe some of the conspiracies. Now, granted, the one I mentioned earlier, that's really batshit out there. But some of the other ones, like where politicians are influencing newspapers or news companies, yeah, that we've already proven that, and vice versa. We've got, you know, the big guys buying out multiple competing news stations and going, okay, you're going to say one thing, you're going to say another, and this guy over here is going to give us money for it. You know,
Well, I see the same thing happening everywhere. I mean, it's just it's
Mhm.
credulity, and I mean, it starts there. I mean, it's something about you know the human condition, where you know, as long as there's people willing to believe this sort of shit, there's going to be somebody going to be taking advantage of it.
yeah, but some of the stuff that they believe in, which is, you know, true conspiracies, some of it starts from looking at things that are actually going on and going, that's really, really wrong, and that could lead to potentially to this. And then their brains are going, oh God, I bet they're doing that. They must be doing it. It's a conspiracy. That's all. That's all it takes to get to that point.
Yeah. The only two things I had, well, the two biggest conspiracies that I've had to endure, of course, are this flat Earth, and the other one, of course, is the moon landing. Now, you look at a guy, Dr. Phil Plait, the bad astronomer himself, or mad astronomer, I guess. I'm not sure which one he uses these days. This is a guy who took on the most robust moon landing hoax conspiracy theorist guy and systematically, scientifically, and completely dismantled every single argument this guy threw at him using actual science and proving beyond a shadow of a doubt that, yeah, we were there. This was not a backlot thing in Hollywood. This was not Area 51. Now, the only thing about the moon landing conspiracy that could tweak somebody is look at the political climate of the day. John F. Kennedy said, we will put a man on the moon before the end of this decade. And they kind of squeaked it, you know, July 1969 is when it happened. I could see them wanting to put on a big production to continue, like, to stir the patriotic spirit, because, you know, he was very charismatic. I could see it as a desperation play, but I'm sorry. I look at those. I look at the footage and everything from that. I look at TV and movies from around the same time period. Yeah, it's not the same. Like there was not a single Hollywood production company on the planet that could pull off footage like that in that time era. But the question I have with the flat earthers is, like I said, with the moon landing, I could see a reason. Desperation, patriotism, got to beat the Russians, yada, yada, yada. What's the goal here? I mean, to be able to say that, yeah, we put one over on the government, to me feels like small potatoes. Like, it's, these guys are like rebels without a cause or without a clue. Well, okay, without a clue is obvious, but they seem to me to be rebels without a cause.
Yeah. Now there's a reason why I wanted to let this all play out as long as we have, because this doesn't sound like something that should have really worked together with all this But the reason is, and follow me on this a second, there are a lot of people who believe stuff that is wildly inaccurate for really bad reasons, who could have incredibly selfish motivations, and, well, they're generally speaking not hurting anybody, although they could. Case in point, the anti-vax folks are hurting people. Now, we're not talking about the anti-vaxxers. We're not actually talking about the flat earthers. What we're talking about, though, is the fact that there are people who believe strongly in stuff, well, because they can, and because of that, will use whatever selfish rationalizations to get whatever it is that they want and bully other people out of the equation. Now, Joseph had mentioned that this idiot, who is very likely going to end up blowing himself to smithereens, which, I really hope doesn't happen, because then he's a martyr. He could have just gotten a whole bunch of extra money, which he did. He got double what he was asking for in Kickstarter, or whatever group it was, but he's got his notoriety. Okay, so he's got something of value for him. Whether he was going looking for it or not, he's got it, which then gives him clout to go ahead and do whatever it is that he's going to do later. Maybe he's going to write a book. Maybe he's going to go on tour.
Only to the credulous.
Right. But now we've got the people who are in positions of authority, a different type of authority. He's going to be viewed as an authority because he will have gone up there and done, and he's going to not be able to see the curvature of the Earth at the range that he's looking at because of your bullshit. Trippin had also mentioned, by the way, the observation level of the, and I'm going to probably mispronounce it, Burj Khalifa?
Oh, the Burj Khalifa, yeah.
Burj Khalifa, okay. Yeah, and I pulled that up. The observatory on that one is over 800 feet tall, over 555 meters up. And yeah, you can see curvature from up there. So, dude, much safer that way. But again, the elevator thing, I get that. Anyway, so the problem that we've got are there are people who are in positions of actual power and actual authority who are, you know what, I don't know of any other way of putting it, who are fucking people over. Yeah, I know. I get 2 for the night now, whatever. But, you've got Roy Moore, who is right now the star child. Do I know that Al Franken is out there too? Yes. Yes. But there's a big difference here. And it's not because of a D or an R at the end of their names. What's different is the collateral information. With Roy Moore, we do have accusations that are, yes, 30 or 40 years beyond. But we've also got corroborating evidence. We've got a mall that said, yeah, we said he's not allowed on our property, and it's our property, so we can do that. Because believe it or not, mall is not public property. You don't have a right to go there. It's their property, and if the mall company, the company that owns the property, says you're not allowed there, guess what? They will kick you out. They will say you don't come back again. And if you do, you get picked up by the actual constabulary, who will say, yeah, we're now going to charge you with trespassing. And we really don't suggest that you try this again because, this mounts up like savings bonds after a while. So we've got these people who think that they can get away with freaking anything. You can grab them by the pussy because you're in a position of power and authority. You have teachers who are having sex with their students, whether they're adult or not is immaterial. You've got people who are in jobs, who are managers and higher, who are saying, look, you want to keep your job or not? And you want to go ahead and you want to lodge a sexual harassment case? Well, you're going to have to go through somebody that I put in the position of the head of that group, And who are they going to believe?
And let's not forget the big elephant in the room, the Catholic Church.
Mother of Christ, ain't that the case?
And not just the Catholic Church, but how many other smaller churches, like these ones in, Broken Testicle, New Mexico? Where the population of that town could fit inside the church.
There's that. There's institutions like the Jehovah's Witnesses and the Mormons.
Exactly.
Yeah. Hold on a second.
You're still kind of robo voice there, Heretic Woman.
Yeah, you remember the old audio thingy? That's what's happening for you at the moment.
What audio thing?
You've got that thing where you sound like you are not getting full network quality through, and it's breaking down. Not quite sure what that's going to be. No. Or maybe she'll just do it the easy way and just rage quit on us. You know what?
No. Hey.
That's three.
You forget how she fixed it before. She got off the call, or she got back on the call. Ta-da! It's better.
He's still very quiet, though.
You know what? Just
quiet.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine now. Thank you.
Reboot the show.
So anyway.
Have you tried turning the internet off and on again?
Don't even fucking joke right now.
Unplug it, wait 10 minutes, and then plug it back in again.
No.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you want the Republican people to contact their Republican representatives to make sure that they vote to keep net neutrality laws in place, go tell all their children who love watching cat videos on YouTube and those sorts of things. They love seeing all the memes and music videos and everything. They spend all day looking at that stuff. Tell them that if their parents don't vote to keep net neutrality, they're not going to be able to look at that stuff anymore. I guarantee you by the time the holidays are over, by the time this weekend is over, everybody will be voting to keep the net neutrality laws in place.
Just tell everybody that uses Pornhub that they won't be able to look at it anymore.
Oh, so the Mormons will be
here's
net neutrality.
Yep.
Here's another thing. Now, this kind of deviates a little bit. Okay, I'm not trying to bite the hand that feeds us because, well, this is YouTube after all.
Yeah.
Now, if you've been following any of the socio-political stuff, yes, I did roll my eyes a bit at that on YouTube. There is a suspicion that you look at things like the demonetization of videos, the seeming censoring of opinions that are not left enough in some cases. Mm-hmm. Yeah, again, I am tiptoeing around it here, but what I find interesting is that there's a lot of complaining from right-wing, center-right, and even center-left people that their voices are not being heard because it goes against, the narratives. And people at YouTube and other places are in positions of power that they can censor that kind of stuff, or they can, people at Google have the power to remove certain things from their search engine algorithm. So, like, if you go looking for, let's say, white power, I don't think it'll happen now, but if it keeps going the way it is, what you're going to find is that white power is going to be the name of like a power company run by a guy named J.M. White or some shit like that. And that's all you're ever going to find. So if the conservative government in the United States votes to repeal net neutrality, given the climate of a lot of internet companies and internet sites out there, they could actually end up silencing their own voice. Mm-hmm. Like, imagine if, for instance, dailymail.com, the Daily Wire, Ben Shapiro's website, podcast, whatever. Suddenly Google, because they don't have to put up with that kind of shit anymore, they just get rid of it. And ISPs that are, heavily anti-conservative suddenly starts slowing down traffic, throttling on those sites that would support the government that took away net neutrality in the first place, really kind of shooting themselves in the foot, like I said before.
Yeah, once upon a time ago, there was some procedural thing that was going on in the government over here, and the Democrats were trying to push for some. Forgive me for using the expression. It's the only one I can think of. Whatever was supposed to have been the quote unquote nuclear option, for whatever reason, and people were saying you really don't want to do that. As appealing as that is, because that's going to go ahead and bite you in the ass on the way out. And this,
especially if a hacker gets a hold of it.
Yeah, what Dalan's talking about is not. It's not something that should be completely forgotten either. Yeah, I mean, if you go with the idea that money is what's going to be the final driving force, well, who's got the vast majority of the money? Well, that's
0.01%.
Yep, that's part of the problem. Now, of course, who doesn't? The people that they want to keep electing them. Now, if they can't afford to hear the word, well, that's going to be a problem, because then they got to go and actually invest their time and their money and repeal the stuff that says that churches can't talk from the pulpit about who to vote and who not to vote.
You're actually not thinking enough like a politician. If the politicians vote to allow the FCC, the current guy, asshole in charge of the FCC, to repeal net neutrality laws so that all the others can censor the net, what you'll find is that politicians will pay, or they'll lobby, or whatever the case, lobbyists will pay them, or whatever the case is. Money will exchange hands in some way, shape, or form, whether it be favors, whatnot. That your bandwidth, you can only afford, $40 a month, so you're going to get maybe 500 megs of premium content and maybe a gig or two of low-res everything, minimum news content and everything, but those advertisements from your local politician are coming in big 4K.
Yeah.
Sounds like Crackle.
It's like that bullshit where ads will be at like 3 times the volume of whatever you're watching.
Yeah, and that's actually there's an app on my Roku called Crackle that's from Sony.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And there was some controversy about that commercial thing a while back, and I thought it had been resolved in that company said you can't do that, and the advertisers went, okay. Well, apparently this never got to Crackle, which is a Sony-based app. And even though I have an account with them, it is free. I don't pay a subscription for it. On my computer, watching it on a website, no problem. I can watch whatever I want. Go to my TV with this streamer, and any show I watch will be broken up with commercials that play at 2 to 3 times the volume of what I have the show set at.
Weirdo.
Yeah, that's a technique that's been known, and there are supposed to be rules and laws in effect for doing that. A lot of that's got to do with audio compression. You know all about that.
Yeah, but the really dumb thing about it is that the commercials they show me are for shows on the app.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm seeing commercials for, Superstore's latest sale or anything like that. Or
deodorant.
Yeah, I don't see anything like that. It's just like, hey, if you like this show, you can go watch this show. Yeah. And then they'll play that same commercial again or again. The only commercials I saw that were not related to the app itself was a run of the absolute worst Old Spice commercials I'd ever seen. I get the feeling the ones I'm talking about.
No, but I can imagine. I have managed to strip a lot of ads out of my life. The only time I see ads really is when I'm watching YouTube on my phone, because I have yet to find an ad blocker for that. Or if I'm watching Hulu. Even though I use an ad blocker on Hulu, I would say about a quarter of the ads still get through.
Yeah.
And most of them are about other shows on Hulu.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can browse the site for that shit. You know, like you've got the big banner on the front of the website that shows you all of the new upcoming stuff. Like, why do I have to watch this? But,
Hey guys, just imagine this. They get it to the point of where, oh, you want to load a web page or a video? That's great. Here, watch this 1.5-minute long commercial. When it's over, you have to answer a quiz. What color hat was the guy wearing? What color shirt was the young lady wearing? What product were they selling? Do you use this product in your home? And then if you get something wrong, you have to watch it again.
ugh.
Now, before you say this can't happen,
Oh, it does. I've
yes.
I've had ads on Hulu that make
Yep.
like, you know, answer these trivia questions, and it's the same damn ad. Like I've answered them all once. I know all the answers, but you have to
now
go through
imagine that
do
the answers are more. There are more of them per commercial,
right,
and
Ugh.
that they're variable as to which ones you'll get.
Yeah.
Just like as
Yeah.
if you were taking a CCNA or CCNP exam.
Now, see, if I could answer or click a thing that says I've already purchased this product, that would make me really happy, because especially when I do see ads, half the time it's for stuff that I already use, and I'm
Oh
like,
yeah, but the thing is,
That's
then
awful.
what they'll want you to do is they'll want you to go get that product and hold the UPC code up to your webcam so they can verify it.
That's the other
I
thing.
would- yeah,
Ugh.
Could you imagine webcams checking to see your eye movement to make sure you're paying attention to the screen during the commercials?
Oh hell, you remember
Oh.
the great big kerfuffle about the Kinect?
yes,
Yep.
yes.
That
And
if you,
even go ahead.
And
Well,
this
like-
is how it starts.
Yeah,
By the way.
like if you'd rented a movie on an Xbox app, and there were more than if the Kinect could detect that there were more than like 2 or 3 people in the place, it would force you to pay more because
That's a
licensing.
group.
But again, I do call bullshit on that because
I've never heard of it happening.
well, that and the only apps I've ever like really watched movies on it with is Netflix, and I'm already paying a subscription for that. So what, you're going to charge me more
I
because I've got
remember
2 or 3 people in the
there-
place? Screw you.
there was a politician in, I want to say it was in the 90s, maybe even earlier, but it was an American politician. I don't remember who it was. I just remember him saying that if you leave your television during commercials, that meant that you were basically stealing content, because you are obligated to watch the commercials in order to
Yeah, that's an
pay.
old court case that ultimately
Yeah.
failed.
Yeah.
But this is how conspiracy theories start, by the way.
Mhm.
We start talking about things that we've noticed. We tie it all together. And then we think about worst case scenarios. And then it just explodes out from there.
Yeah, about the only difference between that and like things like the flat Earth. Right now, at least for me, there's no booze involved.
Yeah.
I am sadly.
I got some rum.
But that doesn't help me.
Well, you better
Sure
get it
does.
to Calgary in a hurry.
I'll pour it into the microphone. You hold your earpiece up to your mouth.
Tell you what, you cut to commercial. I'll go get the bottle of vodka that's in the kitchen.
There
Oh
you
wait,
go.
no. Would that mean I'm stealing would that mean that I'm stealing the show if
Yeah,
I get up during the
yeah.
commercial?
And I remember thinking, how the hell are you supposed to go to the can if you can't get up during the friggin' commercial? Is
We
that-
see now that was the original function of adult diapers.
Oh yeah. So
Oh.
you could
I was going to say, just, like catheter yourself.
no.
No. Tech chamber pot.
And run the line to the
Yeah.
bathroom.
No.
And
Something
just stick
tells
with
me.
liquids.
Something tells me the guy who came up with this was probably so old that when he was a kid, they still used chamber pots.
Probably. But then then the other question, okay, so let's say you use a chamber pot, then how are you supposed to eat?
We went from
what an
conspiracy
IV is for.
theories to chamber pot.
Yeah, you know what? Now I'm going to go ahead and say that it's well past time to rope this one in. But
I know I'm tired because this is insanely funny to me.
but we can go ahead and we can actually use this. Believe it or not, still
Chamber pot?
no. The whole idea of because I do want to talk a little bit more about net neutrality when we can get the opportunity, because if we get that group next week, screw that, I'm gonna push it back. But the idea that there are people who are in positions of power here that can affect great swaths of the rest of the world.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the expression? America coughs, the rest of the world gets a cold. We have, I hate to say it this way, we have a position that is unrivaled in a lot of respects. The technology factor right now in the United States, the internet as we know it, is a byproduct of the Cold War here in the US, which, as a matter of fact, the first ARPANET hookup happened within the last week or two in history. I forget what it was. But the idea was to be able to have, interconnected systems that, should there be a nuclear attack, lines of communications could stay open. Now, granted, you could still get away with radio communications. Thank you, ham radios. But, the idea that you could
Assuming
still have...
licenses don't get pulled.
It doesn't matter at that point, in any case. But if the vast majority of the backbone system here in the US becomes, let's call it compromised for a second, that's going to have an effect worldwide because of various different reasons. And even if you think that it can't, well, how about the whole, oh God, what the hell is the IP? Yes, the
Internet protocol?
No.
Intellectual property.
Intellectual property. You could conceivably argue that, well, you're using our stuff, so you're gonna have to follow our rules. Doesn't matter that you're in a different country, you don't like our rules. Well, we'll just take our product out and you can replace it with your own product. Oh, by the way, you can't use replication of our code because we will sue your ass. So
yeah, I'm going to call a big middle finger on that.
Yeah, and rightly so. But before you go on though, my point is, we have people who have the ability, the authority, and the idiocy to think that ideas like this make for good policy because it would make for good business through whatever convoluted methodology.
I
got
have
a problem
to
with the idiot part of that, because
please replace that with greed.
Granted, but
because the guys who are, the bigger problem here is, again, it's people's credulity. Because I mean, can you imagine us, if all voters were like us and we saw a problem with this, like, would that stand?
No, shit, no.
So
if go ahead.
Again, you've got a larger body of people who suspend critical thought, disbelief, whatever, and let the authorities do whatever to them, whatever they want to, as long as they're comfortable. This is the bigger problem, and then we see this even in net neutrality and religion. It's the same thing going on. It's just a small group of humans taking advantage of a lesser able or lesser educated or lazy or whatever you want to call it, group of humans.
Willfully ignorant, would that be a way to put it too?
Well, ignorant, the thing with humans, they're not going to think unless they have to. And things are set up that, you go to your local store, everything's a question of convenience. You just go and get what's necessary for survival. You get whatever's available to you. And you don't really have to make much effort beyond just buying whatever's put in front of you.
You know what?
And until people are shaken out of this system, until they're when people suspend disbelief, when they actually, what they're doing is giving the responsibility for their own survival to authorities or somebody else or some quote unquote higher power, whatever that be, whether it's your internet provider or your preacher, and they just don't give it second thought until it doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
And I mean, there are some people out there that practically have to be in the street with no resources, no job possibilities or anything, and basically starving to death before they stop voting Republican.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Trippin has put something over here, and it's part of what I was actually going to say in different wording. Trippin had said, "Gotta check and double check what the source of accreditation is anymore." What I was going to say though was, Joseph, I don't think that it's a matter of people don't think about stuff. I think it's a matter of that they're unwilling, or in some cases unable, to go beyond their already set notions of what should and should not be.
They're comfortable. That's all. They're and there's something to somebody, to a non-critical thinker. You know, all their quote unquote thinking, I guess feeling would be a better word, is that, you know, it's working for me so far. It's working for me so far. I don't want things to change. I'm happy with what I've got. I want things to continue like that. And everything outside of that, they're going to reject, and they're just going to rationalize that. I mean, for whatever reason. And, you know, conspiracy theories are a part of this. And,
and don't forget, you're going to have the other people who are who have been living the life for so long, they don't want to accept the fact that they've been living a lie, because the realization would hit them so hard that, you know, that they've been bamboozled for so long.
Yeah, the resulting depression will be.
And they won't want to admit that they're not responsible for their own survival. I mean, it's this is following the rabbit hole down pretty far. Yeah. But I mean,
we've driven off the cliff this far already. Let's just go for the rest.
But they don't even see the cliff. That's the thing, because when you suspend judgment, when you suspend belief, disbelief, whatever, you know, everything becomes a concept. I mean, you know, all they know is their present state. Yeah. Okay, I've got a place to live. I'm eating, so like, all's good, you know. And I don't decide. Like, somebody who doesn't think critically, they see the options in front of them. They don't think of another possible option, and they see another possible option as a threat, even. Because it's like when you stop thinking critically, everything's reduced to pattern matching. Does that match my present lifestyle? No. Okay, it's a danger, and that's it. Thought ends there.
Yeah, but now we've got to deal with God. This is streaming in a lot of different areas. I was totally unexpecting.
Going back to net neutrality, you know, everything that's going on, there's not going to be a lot of thought given to it until the internet's not working anymore.
Yep.
Yeah, or not working to the original specifications that the person in question, you know, thought it to be. Like I said before, well, this was before the show, but I'd said, you know, I'd mentioned that, okay, so right now I pay $11 a month for Netflix. And now an ISP is going to tell me, like, okay, well, if you want to continue to stream Netflix, you have to pay your $11 a month subscription to Netflix, but then you also have to pay for our new $15 a month media streaming package, which allows you to have Netflix, Netflix and Hulu. Now, if you want something else like Crunchyroll or something like that, well, then you have to get the deluxe media streaming package for, you know, $30 a month. Oh, what's this? You want to get back onto Facebook reasonably well? Well, then you have to sign up for our social media premium, which gives you Facebook, Twitter, you know, something else. And if you want Google Plus, yeah, okay, the joke kind of dies there. But my point is,
oh, sorry, your point. Sorry.
Yeah, no, like, but the thing is, eventually, so, you know, the person who went for this because, like you said, it something like this, Well, Trump thought of it. I'm a Trump supporter. It follows my pattern. Although I think you'd say that a little more subconsciously. Therefore that person goes for it.
It's
And
just
then,
red light, green light. That's it.
but then suddenly can't figure out why he's suddenly on the hook for $500 a month on his cable package or on his internet package.
It's going to impact them. It's
Right.
like that woman who voted for Trump and her husband was an undocumented immigrant. And the second that he got elected, her husband got deported. And she's like, well, I didn't think it would happen to us because we voted for him.
Or all the people who were on the Affordable Care Act,
Yes.
who were so happy that they were going to repeal Obamacare.
Yeah, because they didn't even know what the hell they had.
Yeah.
They're
Or,
like, if it's got Obama's name on it, it must be bad.
yeah.
Like
And
these
look at
people are, they're told, as long as you continue doing what we tell you to do, everything's going to be fine.
yeah.
And you can tell them to their face.
Yeah.
You should do this, and you can take the order that they're given and compare that to reality, and it doesn't correspond at all.
Because the message that's being given out is it's going to negatively impact other people. And because they don't see themselves, and I've heard this said before, that a lot of low-income Americans don't think of themselves as poor. They think of themselves as temporarily displaced millionaires. So even though they might be barely able to pay rent and are working 3 jobs, they still think that they're not the person that's going to be targeted by these measures.
Okay. All right. This is all right. Hold on a second, because we've gone easily an hour on all of these pieces. And like I said, I was very willing to go ahead and let stuff go where it's been going, because good pieces that need to come out in a timely fashion. I know that. And I know we haven't exactly been on point for the topic itself, but I think that we can, I think that we can actually use this now to, with what time we've got left at the moment, to kind of flip the whole damn thing on its head. What we've been talking about for the most part, never mind that the specifics are net neutrality. Never mind that the specifics have been various other pieces about people who have been doing stupid things or believing stupid things. These have been pieces that we've been talking about that have been affecting the end person. The person on the other end of the coax, the person on the other end of the fiber optic, the person on the other end of whatever the hell is going to happen with that rocket engine. We need to finish off this session talking about the people who are on the other side of that. The people who have been putting the shit in motion. The people who are in the position, who have whatever position and say, I'm going to do this because I can. Damn the consequences, because I can cut the consequences off, even if it's illegal, unethical, immoral, or whatever. The people who are in business, who are, screwing people over and firing people because they're whistleblowers, even though there are whistleblower things out of the way. Right now, I think the biggest one that we should hit at the moment is Joe Arapo. The guy, the son of a bitch, and there's a good reason for this one. The son of a bitch, and I'm going to call him that every goddamn time because I can, because it's about as high a praise as I can give him. That son of a bitch was the sheriff out there in Arizona who targeted minorities in a systematic fashion and got his police forces to do it. The sheriff was brought up on charges and was found guilty of, well, basically federally fucking over people. It was at 5 tonight. I don't care, whatever. And was, before sentencing, pardoned by the president.
Yep.
Which does not exonerate his guilty verdict.
Just means he can't be punished.
Right. Now, by accepting this, He agrees that he is guilty as charged. There are now people who are going to be coming forward and suing his ass because he was guilty. And I think they've got a good reason to go after him and to sue him into oblivion. And rightly so.
And
But
then he'll get a freaking GoFundMe page. The cynic in me is talking right now.
Maybe. But they also tried to do the same thing with whatever the hell her name was over on the east side of the country. Kim, whatever the frick Kim Davis.
Kentucky.
Who went ahead and said you can't have marriage license even though it's legal, but because I don't want to give it to you. And then Roy Moore, who went ahead and said, well, you guys, you in the court, you may have gone ahead and said that everybody can get married, but you're only settling it for that section of states over there, not for all of the states, because, well, we're here in Alabama, we follow a different code. These are people who are in positions who basically say, look, I know better than the law that I said I would go ahead and uphold.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm getting a little bit, my face is a little bit tired. I'm sorry.
Flustered.
Yeah, well, I'm pissed off at these people. I mean, we here in the United States are the freaking laughingstock of the world right now for so many different things that are in the news for no good goddamn reason.
Yeah.
Stuff like this should not even be. This should be stuff that we should be who the hell was it? Mugabe, who is now out of a job after 37 years as a president. Yeah, and again in air quotes president. How do you deal with people who can basically screw people over in shutting them down? How do you get around this bullshit?
I don't know, because there are no consequences, pretty much.
Yeah, and the trouble is, and I think the trouble is now is that more of these politicians are seeing, the Sheriff Arpaio's and the Roy Moores and the Kim Davises getting away with this kind of stuff. And it's leading them to be more drunk on their own power to the point where they actually do believe in their own deification in their own little circle.
That's you know what? Hold on a second. Hold on. That is a brilliant term to use in this case. Their own deification. The belief in themselves as they are the ultimate authority on whatever the hell it is, even if they don't realize that the little pile of rocks that they're standing on pales in comparison to the mountain that's next to them. Joseph, go ahead.
I'm not so sure about whether I don't think they actually believe it. They're just willing to not process it.
Oh, I don't know about that, especially in the line of Kim Davis.
You've got people like Ken Ham, which are kind of like, okay, I tend to divide society into three levels: the sheep, the sheepdogs, and the shepherds. And I tend to put people like Ken Ham in a shepherd category because, like, he's following a shepherd's formula set out for him, but it's working for him. So he is somebody who will more or less believe, this formula that he's been fed because it's working. He finds himself in a leadership position over the sheep, and he's basically he's a pattern enforcer, a behavior pattern enforcer that's working for him. But people who actually create the system, I don't think there's any belief in there at all. I think they know what's working and what's not. And that's it. So, their story is calculated.
They're shysters.
All they know, yeah, they're like con artists. They're conscientiously
Yeah, they're trying to
Con
get away with as much as they can before the gravy train runs out.
Yeah, that's it. And I think it's really, really, really important when we're talking about anything concerning credulity or belief that we make that distinction between who's creating the story, who's spoon feeding it, and who's eating it,
But the problem is, even with these guys,
and who's benefiting.
yeah, true, and I will admit that. But if somebody disbelieves, if somebody leaves their fold, they're not going to have legal action brought against them. They're not going to have their livelihood threatened. They're not going to be smeared.
They could.
They could, but
No, but I mean,
last time? Hold on. When was the last time you heard somebody leave Joel Osteen's flock and then be blackballed in the media?
Not in the media, but they could be blackballed in their workplace or whatever. If everybody's a Joel Osteen advocate and this guy says, no, I'm no longer part of it, well, he could find his ass fired. It works on that level too.
Yes, it can. But that's not a religious problem at that point. That's
sure it is.
Hold on. That is an organizational problem. The workplace problem. Now,
no,
if hold on. Just because the cause was from leaving a religious organization, leaving any organization, we'll put it that way, any organization, could be because
central.
Yes, but
that's the motivation for the whole thing. But it's not. But the firing is not coming from Osteen. That's where my point is. It's a behavior pattern set out by him that everybody's following.
Yes, I understand that, but you're missing my point. If I was a member of the Flying Spaghetti Monsters church, for argument's sake, which I would actually love that being whatever, Italians, never mind, and I left that church. As a good atheist, I would. If I was working in an organization and got fired because of that, because they knew they were also part of that church, they knew that I left, they fired me. The person that did the firing was probably not the head of the church. You following me so far on this one?
Well, yeah. But
okay. No, hold on. Yeah. My point is, the head of the church is not themselves going to directly go after somebody that leaves.
But the head of the church set up the system.
Yeah.
They set the behavior pattern. They're the ones who set all this in motion. Well, anybody who doesn't obey me, well, you're going to reject them.
Or they legitimized it. One of the two.
Yeah.
It's not like, in Scientology, David Miscavige doesn't personally go and say, I'm going to shun you now. But he directs those in the church that if you don't shun who we say you should shun, then we will eventually shun you too. So it does come from the top, even if it's not a direct.
And that's what's so fucking evil about it, because this is exactly how they wash themselves of all responsibility of whatever they've set up.
Because when people try to nail down David Miscavige about that, he says, oh no, it's the this person's choice to disconnect from their family members because they felt that it was interfering in their spiritual growth. That was their choice. We don't have anything to do with that, which is bullshit.
I'm going to have to think a little bit further about how
food for thought. I mean, you have to follow the rabbit hole all the way down and this kind of thing. And I think in a lot of our everyday conversations, we're not doing that, where, we're skimming the surface. We're looking at the characters at the front of the stage. We're not really looking at the whole thing.
This is damned annoying for me. Not that I'm saying that I'm upset with any of you guys. It's damned annoying for me because I'm trying really hard to process where I was, what I was thinking, and how I was trying to get it across. And you've given me something else that I need to I need to work into all that to better understand it all. And I can't run.
Don't sweat it because it takes it took me decades really to wrap my head around it.
And here I am. I'm trying to scoot it all into myself in about 20 seconds so that I know where to go with this.
Don't worry.
Yeah, that's probably not going to happen that way.
And the hardest part of it is actually believing that people would do that. I mean, you know, if you are a critical thinker, and you know, if you're rational, let's just say that. It's hard for you to believe that other people aren't rational too, and it's hard if you're honest and rational. It's harder for you to believe that, you know, there are rational people who, well, basically they're wishing ill on their fellow human. I mean, they're fucking doing evil.
You know, that's damn. So those of you that are planning on starting your own show, remember, this is one of the pitfalls you're going to run into. You think about stuff, and you're going to run into a problem where you don't know what the hell to do with what you were just given.
And then you're going to learn shit.
Yeah, that's.
Isn't that conversation?
A good conversation, at least.
You know, that's funny because, okay, sounds like a tangent, but like, you know, when we're talking amongst ourselves, like basically, what are we doing? We're sharing survival information. You know, we're looking at our environment and we're just seeing how stuff works, and you know, we're just sharing our discoveries amongst us. But when you look at, for example, an apologist conversation, it's just basically, it's pattern matching. They start with one pattern, usually dictated, and they match everything to it. Oh, how well does this match? Oh, this doesn't match very well. Oh, this is how this match. Oh, this is why this matches. That's their entire conversation. The difference between the two conversations is that we're deciding for ourselves what's best.
And taking whatever the conversation is, and
so
evaluating it as we go along, instead of just
like Trump to go away. Everybody has to do this. Because what we have, I mean, religious or not, the biggest problem in the United States is faith.
Yeah.
It's
not sacrificing, it's
undermining.
No, it's not dedicating, giving the responsibility of your own survival to somebody else.
Abdicating.
Yeah, I guess.
Or relinquishing.
In today's society, power of attorney.
Yeah,
I used to think it was all about critical thought, but it's basically I've changed my mind since.
Humans have not.
It's being responsible for yourself.
We're still very immature.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Hell, our technology is more advanced than our emotional and psychological makeups.
Oh, totally.
Well, it's an opportunity for laziness. Let's put it that way.
Honestly, I mean, while the communications aspects is great, technologically speaking, in terms of war, we shouldn't be using anything besides swords, shields, and spears at this point. We do not have the emotional maturity for like the weapons that we have.
Like these guys who actually, you know, set the rules and set the stage and all that. Well, these guys before, they were limited in the damage they could do to all of us. but with technology, like we were living in isolated packets, and you'd have your local, we'd all be in a parish with the church and everything, and but like you say, we had limited weaponry and all that, but our technology has grown so much that these people dictating the rules, they have so much power that either we wake up to what these people can do to us, because their reach is getting larger and larger. How much damage they can do and how much they can control at the same time, thanks to technology. So either we wake up and become aware of the damage that can be done, or this could be the end of humanity.
And part of the problem is that back during the
crossroads.
time of swords and shields, it was something that could realistically happen to you if your kingdom was borderline at war or had problems with a neighboring country or something like that. It was something that you, especially if you were a guy, could realistically see yourself getting conscripted for. Whereas nowadays, we have quote unquote voluntary service, and there's a lot of push button warfare going on, which dehumanizes the very act of war. So it actually not to say that the people who engage in war don't come away traumatized. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that as a whole, war as a whole, when you're on the side that has all the push button advantage stuff, it dehumanizes the act of killing others. And that's part of the problem.
I totally get what you're saying, because this ties into also lying, because it's part of, if I don't think it, or if I don't see it, therefore I don't think it, then it's not real. It doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another form of lying.
Yeah, I think this is one of the things that you and I, Joseph, are going to agree 100% on.
Well, we agree on a lot of things already.
Yeah, well, yeah, we tend to. We've only got a couple of more minutes before we have to get out of here, and we've, for the most part, most of us have had a lot of discussion time. But Brigid, I want to kind of set aside everything else for a second and kind of get some feedback off of you specifically, because I've been saying it more and more often the last couple of months, very specifically. You wanted to be on because of Mike Pence, who is another shitlord in a lot of ways, unfortunately. And you had experience with how he was as a powerful personality there in the Midwest.
Yeah.
You saw what type of person he was in a lot of respects. But there's one piece in particular that kind of crosses over between that and your field of expertise in medicine, where he believed, and probably still does, in something that is absolutely despicable as far as I'm concerned, and a lot of people, which is the conversion therapy for people who are non-traditional sexually, is maybe the nicest euphemism that I can put for it. People who are in the LGBTQ community, to convert them from, and that is a chilling term that I'm using, convert them from whatever their sexuality is to quote unquote heteronormative. And this is somebody who was in a position of elected power, who had how much backing to try to put that into place, and how much could this SOB do for making that happen?
Well, I mean, he had a lot of people supporting that, unfortunately. And there were a lot of things that he tried to do when he was governor that were, frankly, unconstitutional. They were illegal. And it didn't matter. Things got passed anyway. and it takes a long time for things to work through the court system to get overturned, if ever. And especially with the makeup of SCOTUS now, and looking at what could happen if Ruth Bader Ginsburg happens to die, or something like that. Things that were unconstitutional that should be overturned probably won't be, and that scares me.
That's that's a piece that we should really kind of remind people that, yeah, laws, even if they are illegal under the law, that they actually contravene established law, other laws can be passed by legislatures, signed into practice, but until it's used, you can't bring it up, generally speaking, to the courts to say, hey, this is wrong, this shouldn't be done. You can't proactively say, we're not allowed to pass this unless you've got some really good lobby groups behind you. And that's basically what he ended up doing in a lot of respects, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Did that with several things. I mean, not just that, but as far as curtailing abortion rights, trying to think what else there was. Fourth Amendment rights,
which in this case means
the state Supreme Court had determined that police officers could go in your house at any time without a warrant, and you were to let them, step aside and let them in. And you could file a complaint later after the fact, but you were to let them in. And even so far as being able to go in when you weren't even there. And there was a sheriff that said he planned on taking full advantage of that by going into his neighbors' houses and snooping around when they were at work.
Wow.
And the Supreme Court of Indiana said, yeah, you can do that.
And a lot of cases for this, it's exploiting loopholes that were there that I guess maybe the nicest way of put it would be, you use enough snake oil, you can fit through pretty much any crevice if you weasel your way through it well enough and you couch it properly. Yeah?
Yeah.
Now, see, I wanted to very specifically hit this to really kind of wrap this whole damn thing, because like I said, we went down through a lot of different pieces, and I know it wasn't exactly on point for what I originally was expecting to talk through. And all the pieces that we ended up talking about were very, very valid and very, very timely. And if you're looking for a little bit more in depth for this one, I'm sorry if we didn't necessarily finish it through the way that you would have liked. Let us know if there's an angle that you think that we should go down through a little bit better, a little bit differently, because the way that this works, sometimes we do have to go through some areas. But I'd like to think that we did kind of cover pieces that really impact on this. This is not one of those easier ones. One of those easier topics, especially with the way that the news coverage has been shifting under our feet like sand at the beach. I think that's one of the hardest things about being the host on a situation like this. You don't know where you can step down and plant your flag, because it's falling over all the time now.
Yeah. And
the sad part of it is, I don't know that that's going to get any easier in the next couple of months either. So you have my word. I am really, really, really trying to make sure that I'm guiding us in the right way down a pathway. But, sometimes it's just too damn much to take in at any one time. So again, if I have allowed this to go off incorrectly for you, I'm sorry.
Just
we
blame
try.
me.
I can't, because it's not us. It's the shifting nature of everything that's been going on, because there's so many things that are so in our faces every time that we want to cover because there's an explosion here, there's an explosion here, there's an explosion here. And the sad part of it is that's all too literal at this point too, because what else do we have? We've got who only knows how many shootings have been happening. We've got a bombing that took out over 200 people that were gathered in a place. There's a knifing.
That number I thought was up to 300.
There is human trafficking. You know, there's so many things that have been freaking happening that we're trying. I'm trying to keep a lot of that out of the equation when we talk about a particular topic, but you know,
sometimes it blends together because certain things are intertwined. We talk about the concepts of net neutrality. We talk about people having these conspiracy theories. We talk about child predators. We talk about all these various things, and they have so many commonalities. They have the commonality of the type of thinking that is common with religious institutions, organized religious institutions. We have it that's common in a lot of it's criminal, so naturally that's all going to fit together there. And a lot of it due to a lack of rational thinking, calm your emotions, step back, analyze, think about it, rather than just knee-jerk, I'm doing this because I saw this, and you didn't even check your sources at that point. No, don't get me wrong, I'm not perfect. I've had a lot of ones where I've reacted to something and I look back and I go, oh crap, I didn't check my source on that one and I was wrong. Time to update my Facebook feed. I was wrong.
Yeah, it happens.
Well, I think a lot of that too is people are getting mentally fatigued from, just everything that's going on. Every time you get outraged about something that happens, then something worse comes along, and then something else, and then after a while you kind of get numb to it, and you just really can't think. Or at least I can't. My brain will go into a meltdown mode and just overwhelmed.
Yeah, I think that if we can get the guys from Stacked Pancake, I forget what the name of the group. I think that's who it was. If we can get them in for next week, we'll see about specifically talking with them about the song that we forwarded off.
Stacked like pancakes.
Stacked like pancakes. Thank you.
And if need be, if they don't like the fact that I consume pork rinds on this show, I will abstain that day for them.
Yeah, not helpful at this point. So the what we'll do is for next week, I'm gonna see if I can get them, but I think maybe we need to have another talk about exactly this. What the hell we do with this kind of this kind of landscape as far as news is concerned?
I know I was a bit I'm at fault for derailing this, but
we didn't derail. We just kind of
it's when you follow the rabbit hole far enough down, you're going to find all these commonalities. You're going to find one base behavior that results in a lot of different things going on in society. And I think that's what happens.
It kind of turns into the whole dandelion problem I talked about a long time ago, where, like you said, Joseph, you eventually get down to the root of it. But until you can get to that root to take it out, all you're really doing is chopping down one thing, and it's going to grow back in a few days.
Exactly.
And it might look different. It might be a little bit of a different type of, a different configuration of the same weed, but at its core, it's still the same weed. Like just about every show that you're on, Joseph, it actually, and it legitimately comes down to lack of critical thought, lack of people taking responsibility for themselves. And you've masterfully been able to tie just about every topic we've talked about.
Masterfully? Well, thank you. I think I've been actually quite bad at it.
And ego increased 3 sizes that day.
Yeah, but you see, he's not going to get drunk on that kind of power. So,
really, it comes down to if the problem really is as simple as we need better education for people, I'm okay with that. And that would be a very simple solution for a lot of things. And you've shown off that there are a lot of times, the vast majority of times, when that is a viable solution. And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So don't think that we're blowing smoke up your skirt or nothing.
Yeah, but what it comes down to is that, okay, so how do you empower somebody with an education? But okay, like you can make them go through school, but these days, all the horror stories I keep hearing about public school these days in the States, and even up here, it's getting bad too.
That's why they don't want public health care.
Yeah,
they don't. We have to teach people to teach themselves.
Exactly. But the first step to that is you have to
arm them with the tools to do so.
Not only that, though.
It's like a fucking, but it's not a tool. It's a switch.
Yeah,
exactly. It's like, instead of following daddy, well, I'm going to be responsible for my own survival. It's that switch. Like daddy's gone now, so I have to survive by myself. Okay, I've got nobody to provide for me. What am I going to do? Yeah. And I mean, it's really that for me. And this is what I see everywhere.
Yeah, and it's not that we don't have the tool. Every person, well, okay, I would say the vast majority of the people these days, they don't
have to. No, they don't have to, because everything's provided for us. No, they don't have to make that switch.
But what I'm saying is that, like Tech said, they lack the tools. They don't. It's in the palm of your hand, and you hashtag your life away on it 24/7.
But isn't that funny that we do have the tools, but we've just got people telling us, no, you don't have them. No, don't trust your senses. No, don't trust your brain. Trust
Exactly. The thing is, self-education, proactive learning is not cool. That's the spin you got to put on it these days. You got to say, it's got to be Schoolhouse Rock cranked up to 11 to appeal to the people who are the most impressionable right now.
And already that mindset is a thing that people would say, okay, is cool or not cool, which is basically in-group or out-group, which is pattern matching, which means, again, the flock mentality.
I know, but, if you can get a flock that actually starts to educate itself, maybe eventually that flock will, be smart enough to splinter.
It won't be a flock.
Well, exactly. Like you create the self-destructive flock. I know it's completely ironic, but what I'm saying is that if you could sell the idea of learning as, the thing, it's the Coca-Cola of the mind type. This is why I'm not in marketing. Okay.
Basically what you're trying to say is, if instead of paying attention to things like football and Twitter and all that other stuff, we gave our educators that kind of level of attention and respect, we would, and because they were also providing the top level of education that we as humans as a whole currently have in this world, then we would be all better off. And that is a true, exceptionally true statement. Yeah. The problem is when you educate your populace, you can't control them as well anymore.
Exactly. And that's where it happens, is that, but not even just your teachers. Like you can go to school, you can learn, you learn your 3 R's, your reading, writing, your arithmetic, whatever. But to go after something proactively, to pursue a hobby that's kind of intellectual in nature, chemistry, you know what I mean?
Herding cats.
Well, not so much that, but all I'm saying is that a pursuit that's not, a video game where your achievement is, look, I built something. Look, I wrote something. Not, look, I headshotted 40 people with a pretend gun in a pixelated universe.
Hey, that shows good reflexes.
But these kind of things, well, even that. But I mean, what? No, but what you're talking about there is you've made the world a better place for yourself. These are accomplishments. you've made your own survival a little easier, your chances of making it a little better. This is what your brain rewards you for. So when you follow the rabbit hole all the way down, everything we do, if it wasn't good for our own survival, we wouldn't do it. But it's the definition of what is good for our own survival that has to change. Well, if you know what's good for your own survival, your list of things to do is going to be completely different from somebody else's who has to rely on somebody else's dictate to as a survival model.
All right, I'm gonna close this off at this point. Instead of having us tell you more, because we've already run the gamut, and without me going any more, because I've done way too much at this point as far as I'm concerned. Stephanie had something over here that right at the end that I think is something worth considering. Thinking is hard work, and people are lazy.
Yeah.
There's something to be said for that, but I'm really hoping that it's just also just as true that people are also afraid.
Yep.
That's one of the things that hurts.
You can do it. That's instead of this fucking you can't society.
Guys,
do it for you.
Done. We're done. We can't go down anymore. We're done. It's late. Thank you all for being with us. And as always, we hope that you had yourself an enjoyable time in going down with us through all this shit, because I've lost control tonight. And
I know
I've had
some people
way
had
too
fun
much
going
coffee.
down with us.
And we hope that you found something worthwhile in all
not
perspectives. As always, shut up. Joseph, thank you very much for your time. See, I am not at all upset with any of you guys. But Joseph, thank you very much for your time. You take care of yourself, and you be safe out there, huh?
You too, sir.
UnrenownedTech, I will revoke your alcohol privileges in the morning. How's that?
I have no alcohol privileges. Alcohol has UnrenownedTech privileges.
Uh-huh.
Why are we looking at salad dressing?
The white stuff. Oh.
That's in
I
the
know.
Oreo.
That's a different thing.
I put this in the middle of my Oreos.
You
Yeah.
can try
You are
that.
too sober
Brigid-
to be listening to this.
Brigid, as always, thank you for your time. You have yourself a good rest of your weekend. Rest well.
Yeah.
Heretic Woman, you and your
Yay.
pussy can go ahead and tell us all about what's coming up, because you've got a number of things coming up, don't you?
Yes, my pussy doesn't want to be here anymore, though.
Like a hairball.
So, tomorrow, well, yeah, I guess tomorrow now, Monday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, Beyond the Trailer Park, we are going to be talking with Pete Griffiths, who is an ex-Scientologist out of Ireland, and we're going to talk about what's been going on in Scientology these days with Leah Remini's show. It's up to like episode 13 or so this season, and they're pretty amazing. So that's exciting. And I'm working on my new show. Hasn't come out yet, but it's in the preparatory stages. I'm almost ready to get recording everything, so I hope to have that out in before Christmas, hopefully. So
Who is got sound?
Joseph's gonna serenade us.
Not right now, you're not.
Oh, sorry. You could hear that? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Dude, they can hear me when I eat a pork grind.
That's because it's loud, but it's
He
all
thought he
right.
had it muted. It's okay.
People in Florida can hear when you eat a pork rind, Tech. They're crunchy that way.
By
Well,
the
it's
way,
a homing beacon. That way they can find me.
Good luck on that.
there was a meme that came across a little while ago, and it's a picture of Comcast is one of the companies that's been pushing to end net neutrality. And so this is a tweet apparently from Comcast where they say, we do not and will not block, throttle, or discriminate against lawful content. We will continue to make sure our policies are clear and transparent for consumers, and we will not change our commitment to these principles. Someone else tweeted a translation. We never will, but it's very important that we be able to, but we won't. So let us do it, because we won't do it, which is why we're spending so much money to make sure we can, but we won't, but let us. So I just thought that was cute.
Decide when you get the bill.
Give me the gun. I'm responsible enough to know not to use it.
Yeah.
You know,
until I shoot my wife in a church.
Yeah, what could possibly go wrong?
Perfect timing. Dalan, thank you very much for your time and, of course, all of your various work. And congratulations on the new duds. And you have yourself a good evening. Huh?
I will do my best.
No thing.
Okay.
Besides, his pussy is bigger than mine.
And as you know tonight, I did not grab it. I did not grab it at all. That is not something I did. I did not grab it at all tonight. Believe it.
I treated it with respect.
Yeah. So if you like to hear that particular bad impression I did without seeing my facial expression when I did it, you can check out the audio version of this show at holycrapthevlogcast.com, of which I'm the audio curator. The reason for the change of scenery behind me, it's sort of a phase one of a acoustic plan I've got. I got a couple of irons in the fire here for some narration projects outside of work that I want to get working on. I won't say much beyond that now until I actually get started. But suffice to say, if all goes well, the next couple of weeks I'm going to be very busy and my voice is going to be very, very shot. I'm going to be a busy boy.
Fair enough. And a couple of items for me really quickly. Item number one, if you're listening to this after Wednesday, the 29th. Yes. This year, that is when I'm going to be doing my 2-hour radio stream for the old Jack Benny shows. For those of you that have been keeping track of this, every year I do two days a year. This next one is the one that's coming up for the Christmas shopping episodes. If you want to find out a little bit more about that, follow me over on social media, especially for Twitter, and you'll find out about that. You'll be able to pull that up with any streaming device at the time because it's just live. It's not archived anywhere. I did have a good Thanksgiving. It is never an easy one because one of the things that we always wanted to do here was to do Thanksgiving at this house. That was my wife's big thing. Yes, we did have 2 times that we were able to do it, but it's not been a thing. No, I did not fry a turkey yet. I have to get a new bucket because mine is got holes pitted in the bottom of it. Aluminum. What can you do? But I have intentions of frying a turkey again sometime before next year, just on and off. And item last. Well, actually 2 item lasts. One, for those of you that have been celebrating Thanksgiving and doing whatever you're doing this weekend, even if it's shopping, I hope that it's been safe for you. I hope that you've had an enjoyable weekend. Yeah, I'm going to be doing a little bit of Cyber Monday snaggling of a new CPU, but I'll talk a little more about that another time. But I have some unfortunate news for everybody. I am not going to be wearing this hat at this point. For those of you that know, I have been protesting the Red Hat Brigade by wearing a blue hat. And I'm changing hats. So for those of you that do get the chance to watch, I have...
You're going to be part of the Red Hat Brigade, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, I am.
Yep, but not that red hat. This red hat. Yeah, I knew what was coming.
So for those of you that have seen this before, yes, I have a tradition where I wear this hat, even though it doesn't feel like it's quite December just yet, because it's not. It's after Thanksgiving. Who knew? This is kind of my thing. So if you like it, great. If you don't, well, what can I tell you? Yes, I do get compliments on this hat. Yes, especially from ladies who are of the older variety who look this thing over and go, that's a nice hat. You know what I answer every year?
Thank you.
I know. I just answer, I know. Because I can get away with that. But in any case, you all take very good care of yourselves. Please be safe as always. We look forward to having you guys joining us next week. Like I said, with any luck, it will be Stacked Like Pancakes. I got the name right? Stacked Like Pancakes. That was very good. I'm going to be trying very hard on that. So if you want to help out with that, send some tweets their way and let them know we heard about you guys. We saw the video because it's linked in their show notes. We saw the tweet. Please be on their show. I got nothing to lose by asking, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But of course, as always, swing on over to holycrapthevlogcast.com for all the links that you need. If you want to send a voicemail message, it is 859-HCTV-554, 859-4288-554. And if you feel so inclined, yes, you can support us over on Patreon, however much you would like. Patreon.com/HCTV, because I got lucky and I got that one. Yeah. But not so much over on Twitter. That's Holy Crap TV. Oh, well, such is life. But in any case, as always, thank you. And I wish you all the peace I no longer have. I wish you the strength that I've learned. I wish you well. I got to find a way of getting these things hooked up around my head now because my headphones don't fit over the back end of this. Nope, that's not going to work. Oh, that's brilliant. That doesn't work. Wait a minute.
Dude, you look, you're doing the beginning of this. Like,
Oh,
Eddie,
this
are you
doesn't-
okay? Are you okay, Eddie? Eddie, are you okay?
This doesn't work
You've
right.
been hit by
You know what? Screw this noise.
a criminal.
I wish you the peace I no longer have. I wish you the strength that I've learned. I wish you well. And of course, my lady, even though I'm not having Thanksgiving here, I want to. We'll see what we can do sometime in the near future. Matane Fujin. I love you and I miss you. Dream of me. Until the next time we get together, everyone, please be safe, and till then, good night.